Medianoche.
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 Podcast.
Medianoche.
Podcast.
Medianoche.
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 Podcast.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Yo. We're back. We're back. You know what I'm saying? Medianoche podcast. What's up, y'all? Medianoche. We're back. This is episode 3 of the Medianoche podcast. Here with the homies. You're back with Art Morera. I got my man here, Naked Viking here. What's poppin', man?
Yo, what's good, bro?
Man, I'm alright. Thanks for coming through with those pastelitos, bro, and those croquetas, and you know what I'm saying? That Cuban coffee.
It's funny because I was telling my dad, I was like, damn, I should have actually brought a medianoche just in commemoration of the show to be like, yeah, you know, I'm that guy who brought the medianoche.
Get it together, man.
I'm slipping. I was almost there, man.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like here, there's no in the area that I live in, unless if I'm just unaware of any little spot that's that I haven't passed by. There's no Cuban food anywhere within a few miles of here.
There's got to be something hidden in the cut, like some random like Venezuelan or Argentinian spot that's just like, you know what, we're just gonna have pastelitos just for shits and giggles because of the spot, you know.
This is Miami. How can you not have? There has to be like within a mile and a half range a Cuban spot everywhere. I mean, come on, man. This is Miami, Florida. You know?
See, if it was me and I lived in this neighborhood, being that it's little Haiti and stuff, I would have been like, yo, if I was a Haitian dude, I would capitalize on that, or whatever, anybody in this neighborhood capitalize on that, make some bread, you know what I mean? Like, hey, there's nothing here, let's make that money, you know?
I think I'm going to buy back the block, bro.
There you go, bro.
I'm going to come up and I'm going to buy one of these abandoned businesses and then just turn it into a little cafe.
Just
and,
open up every restaurant that they don't have here.
Yeah.
You know?
And have it be one of those late night spots, you know, and yeah,
that's what sells.
Actually, I'm not gonna hold this past myself. I think I might actually do that.
You should. The reason being too is because real quick is that I noticed everywhere else but down here and in a few other places they all close at like 1 o'clock in the morning or like 12 in the morning. I'm like, this is criminal, man. A man's got to eat. There's a 24-hour spot like across the street, and those homies they come through. But I go there. It's like a little 7-Eleven, you know. That's pretty dope.
But yeah, man. So you were just out of town. Right?
Yeah, I was just out of town, man. I was in Baltimore for the We Love Music conference.
Okay, and how was that?
Man, it was pretty dope, man. It was definitely money well spent. I'll tell you that, man. I learned a lot of stuff, and it wasn't so much like people think, oh, this guy, you know, it's a conference, it's a seminar type thing, you know, it's going to be some Tony Robbins type thing. And not to knock those guys, I'm sure what they drop is gems too, but people have a preconceived notion of what it is going into it. And these guys were just dropping life experience, man. They were just telling you stories of stuff they've been through in the industry in the past 20 some odd years. And they just went through so much stuff, man. So many gems were dropped, man. I left there. I felt like I really left a changed man. Like, I went there motivated, and I left there with, like, a fire under my ass. I was like, damn. So I definitely want to be one of the greats like these guys, you know?
Do you feel like after you went over there that, you know, that you learned some new things, but like maybe that you were reminded of some things that you once already knew, but you didn't really apply until you saw that it actually worked?
Well, some of it is kind of like affirmation type thing, for instance, from experience, but they affirmed it. For instance, knowing already that, you know, you can't be a slacker. You can't just expect, you know, oh, I got talent, it's just going to fall in my lap. You know, you have to put in the work, but you also got to be willing to listen to people and not just assume that you can do everything or know everything, because, you know, there's some people that are in the game that they're extremely like rude, and people try to help them out and they're like really, you know, like really rude. They're not like, you know, oh, this is my thing, I'm just don't want you around. And no, they're like extremely rude to other folk that are trying to help them out. And, you know, in time I've learned that, you know, niceness goes a long way. Obviously I knew that from a child, be nice, you know, whatever, but in the music thing you kind of go at it a different way, I guess, because it's the whole hip hop, there's some sort of negative aura, this machista thing around it. You kind of come in with that mentality. So these guys just basically, they made me notice that, yeah, that's the way to go about it in this game. Just be a sponge, absorb things, learn, there's so much more to learn in this game, and I'm just little baby in it, It's like I've been doing this for 20 years, but now is when I'm taking it serious, and I still got so much to learn. But it's like I could go on with all the stuff they taught me there.
That's good, man.
Yeah. It's like, damn. It's like I wish I could just let's just spend 5 hours so we can. I'll just go through all the notes that I took and all those things and the recordings and stuff, man. But it's a lot, man. Especially just learning from dudes like Big Crit, Mace, Rico Love, Danger was there, the producer that was under Timbaland for a while, and he's done a lot of huge hits in the game. He was making a beat on the spot,
Fire.
It's just like crazy stuff.
Would you mind telling me what DAW he was working on?
He didn't show us. Like he was basically he was facing us, and you just saw the back of his laptop, and it was him and this dude, I think D-Town, and they were just up there working together, making a beat on the spot. The other dude was playing the keys on the spot. And then Danger was recording that into his DAW and chopping it up. But it was just like, it's crazy, like the way they work off of each other. Like you could tell Danger came up under Timbaland, and then this guy knows that. So the stuff he plays at the beginning, it doesn't sound like that. But in the end, it was like, damn, I hear that flavor. It's always got like even when it's serious, it has a vibe to it. There's kind of a little dance flavor to it. You just kind of got to move to it. You're just like, you don't want to just sit there all depressed, even if it's a sad song. Got to have a little groove to it,
Yeah, for sure. Like sad songs, like sad, slow songs, man, they're just unbearable. If you're going to be sad, at least compensate with some type of, like you said, some groove, so that people could still be able to at least move while you are just pouring your heart out, Exactly.
You got to keep them entertained. And that's another thing I learned too, that Mace was saying, that you got to switch up your flow. Like you can't be on a consistent, repetitive flow like for too long, because people get bored. It's like something you got to always change up. And the same goes for beats, you got to have those rhythm changes. And I come from that school of that whole, like, where you don't do that, sampling back in the 90s. And it was just like, put a loop on and put a drum loop and you're good to go. But even now, I'm like so used to the stuff that's coming out now that people like to knock. And I love that shit. I'm just like, that stuff now has a lot of variation, whether you like it or not. It's just so much variety to it versus the shit I grew up with and used to make. So, I appreciate changes in music and in rhymes as well,
What do you think about the city of Baltimore?
Oh, bro, I love that place, man. Like, it was my first time there, and shout out to everybody I met there. That's from there and that I met there. Dude, that city is the shit, man. Like, I haven't shut up about it for the past week or so. Like, me and my girl were planning on moving with the kids to Atlanta, but when I got to Baltimore, I was like, fuck, man, especially downtown Baltimore. It was just amazing, man. I was just like, I felt like I was in Gotham City. But even though it's not necessarily like Gotham City, but it just had these these architectural little touches to it. Like, for instance, there was one hotel that had a globe on it with two angels looking like they were fighting. And it just reminded me of Batman, the animated series, as a kid. And just like all this vibe to it, and the whole crab, market thing they got going on, and how everybody's so unified with the whole Baltimore sports thing. And it feels like the South and the North combined for real. And I'm just like, man, this is a great, feel. I just loved it a lot, man.
If it reminds you of Gotham City and you move there, just don't go to a play with your kids and walk down an alley, because I've heard stories.
Definitely. And it's funny you mentioned that, because when I was there, I was like, damn, there's like alleys within alleys here, because we ate at a breakfast spot and it was legit an alley within an alley.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a crazy setup city, but it's cool, man. I really love that place a lot.
But that's how it is. Like, wherever you're from, when you travel outside of it, you want to be there too,
This is true. A lot of the guys there said that. They were like, yeah, we feel like you. We want to go to your city. We want to live in Miami. And I'm like, no, I totally get you guys. And I'm not knocking Miami at all. I love this city, man. This is my home and stuff. And the architecture here is crazy. And I'm not saying that every city I went to, I felt like that, because I did go through a bunch of cities. But it's just something about B-More. I was like, yo, I like this spot. You know what I mean? And it was a nice vibe to it. It was really cool, man. The people that I met there were like super dope, real cool people, and just like all on the same mentality, man. just trying to make good music, you know? It was, yeah, we want to make money, but we want to make good music too. We don't want to just put trash out there. So it was just a really nice vibe in Baltimore.
Word. Yeah, man, Baltimore's tight. I've never been there, but I mean, you know,
Definitely,
I would
should
imagine
check it
it's
out.
tight, you know?
I mean, I'm already like
Actually, no, I'm
entertaining
lying.
the
Hold
idea
on.
of moving there.
Now that I think about it, I'm totally lying. I'm a liar. I've lied to you, bro.
Man, you liar! How dare you?
I'm sorry, man. I was there when I was a kid. I have an aunt. My aunt.
Well, that doesn't count then.
My aunt Robin. I was there to visit her when she was a kid. Like
When she was a kid, no, when you were a kid, bro.
no, when she was a kid.
Oh,
and,
she's
and I
younger
was
than you?
and I was even smaller of a kid.
Oh, okay. I thought it was one of those situations where your aunt is younger than you because I've seen that before.
I lied to you again.
She,
My bad. I need to just own up to when I just say something incorrectly. I was a toddler. She was a grown ass person, and
There
I'm
you
just here
go.
enjoying shit. Like, oh man, life is
she's like,
tight.
yeah, she was a kid. She time traveled, you know, like Cable and all that jazz, you know.
You have any friends that are like that? That like they are the uncle, and they're like some weird like they're the uncle, but their nephew is like their age because their older sister is much older than them and had a kid. It's just crazy. Like
it's funny you mentioned that because I'm not too far in age from my nephews and my nieces. Like my two nephews that I hang out with like crazy. Shout out to my nephews, John and Eric. They're like what 5 years and like 7 years younger than me.
yeah.
So it's like, or maybe 5 and 10. I don't even know. My math is horrible, but the proximity is pretty close. You know, they're not older than me, but it's right there. I still hang out with them and things of that nature. And a lot of my nieces are similar in age like that too. So being that my sisters are like almost 20 years older than me. So I kind of had that growing up, sort of, kind of, you know?
Word. Yeah, I feel you though, man. You know, I've wanted to move, I've wanted to relocate plenty times to other cities. And I think that maybe if things would have gone a different way in Miami, I would have been more content with just like settling here, you know?
Yeah.
But there's a whole world out there, man. You know, it's like that's like on my song Ocean View, like, you know, like we live by the beach, but like I feel like I'm kind of in a little fishbowl looking at it, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, there's a whole world out there. If I could, you know, if there's a city that I would absolutely love to have a crib at, is Santa Cruz in California.
I gotta go out there and check it out.
Never been there?
I've only been to Cali like one time, which was from some Dead Space event. So I haven't really explored Cali like that as an adult, and I'd want to. I see everybody's postings on there, and I'm like, you know, I'd like that place, but I've never been.
Santa Cruz is special, man. California is special. I mean, you know, like every place has its little special charm about it, you know. But I remember that when I was traveling back from Missouri, I was traveling with my pops because he came to pick me up when I was like, when I was bailed out. Like on the way back, the GPS was for whatever reason, the GPS assigned us this route that didn't put us on the highway. We spent like over an hour driving this like rural back road in the middle of Missouri in the middle of the night, you know. And you just see all this. It just looked a lot like, you know, those videos that was coming, that was like pretty trendy, like maybe like last year, the year before, where random people would dress up as clowns.
Yeah.
And you'll like go down this back road and just, my dad would have fucking stepped out and popped that fool, man.
That
and
shit was
like,
just super creepy when people were doing that.
so imagine the entire time that we're driving through these like little back roads in the middle of just we're not close to any major city in Missouri, and it's just totally this like creepy ass vibe in the middle of the night, and my dad's just looking at me like, aren't iPhones supposed to have like the best GPS?
No, they got the worst, bro.
And I'm like, I don't know, Dad. Just man, come on. I just got bailed out. I got a lot on my mind, Dad. My bad. You
yeah,
know?
they're pretty fucked up with the GPS, man. With the especially when they first came out, it was pretty bad.
I would imagine what it's like for people living in, like, for example, Missouri or in Colorado or any of those states where it snows, you know, and when it's not snowing, when it's kind of close to being snowing, where the water is more, where the roads are more slushy than snowy, you know, like we stopped at a gas station, and like the headlights of his car had a like an inch thick layer of ice that we had to like chip away, you know, and then you start like getting extra careful because you don't want to scratch the plastic. You just
It's like super dangerous out there, man. Lots of salt too.
But look at how God comes through, man. Like I had just gotten bailed out. because I was carrying whatever, I was carrying the shit that I had on me, and we pull into this random gas station, and it's one of those gas stations that's like not small. It's like one of those big ones that have it's like a little Walmart in there. It's
like a Sheetz or a Wawa or something like that.
Yeah, but it's like really big. They have all the like a wide variety of selections of coffee and all these appliances that you can plug into the thing in your car.
Damn, you should have wrote the name down of that gas station. That sounds dope. It sure beats the ones on the Greyhound.
I know that when I took my phone out to take a photo, I took a photo of the headlights. That was what I was focused on. But look at how God comes through, man. Like we pull into this gas station, and like my dad and I are like chipping away at this thing, and this other guy just walks up to us, and he's like, "Hey, do you need this liquid? It's like this liquid that you pour on it and it melts the ice,
Yeah.
And it's like this blue liquid." And he's like, "Yo, thank you, man, whatever." And he had like the tool, and he was like, and my dad went to buy his own little bottle of the blue liquid, but the guy still helped us out with like this little spray bottle and stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I just want to help y'all out, man. I just got bailed out. I was arrested for having all this weed on me." And I was like, "What?" His name was Red. I don't know if you're even alive,
Shout out to
bro.
Red, bro.
I don't even know if you're alive right now, bro, but God bless you, man. Thank you. Like, he just came through in a serendipitous manner. He also got arrested and bailed out for a large amount of weed, and out of the kindness of his heart, he came and just helped us out. Maybe he saw the Florida plate or something, but
yeah, it's you do meet sometimes you meet a lot of weird ass people out there, but there are some nice folks out there, Like I met a few on the Greyhound bus ride back from Detroit down here, so I definitely know what you're talking about, man.
Yo, you rode a Greyhound?
Yeah, bro. It's all right. At first, I rode the Greyhound because I was scared of airplanes, but then it's because of some Dade County shit I had to do. So I ended up riding the Greyhound down, and bro, I was pissed that it was gonna be a 34-hour ride. Because renting a car, you'd come down faster than that, but I couldn't rent a car because I didn't have a credit card that was paid off. All my credit cards are maxed out, and I needed $350 worth. So I had to take the Greyhound. And I'm a big ass dude, 6'3", 240 pounds, squished in those damn chairs. I wanted to make some beats on the bus, telling everybody on my Instagram, I'm like, "Yo, I'm gonna make beats. I'm gonna post some beats for you guys." I couldn't make shit. Like, it was just so cramped up in there, bro. It was the physical aspect was the worst. But it was there was some cool ass people I met there. Some were like fucking strange at the bus stations. But, I met this lady, Cheryl, this older lady, and her, her like mother-in-law or something. They're mad cool. And then this Cuban dude that he just got here from Cuba like 4 months ago. He came in through Mexico, and the INS got him there. They sent him to jail in Chicago for 4 months. And then he couldn't fly back to the family that was going to help him out in Miami. He had to Greyhound down. And I felt bad for the guy because, like, the last leg of the trip, we finally met and spoke. And this guy was going through so much gum because he had never rode a bus before. So he was, like, car sick the whole entire time. So he had to just talk to me like, "Oh, yeah, papa," like going fast as shit and chewing mad gum because there would be moments where we're talking and he's like, like that, and just having to hold himself in. I'm like, I feel so bad for this guy. And he was trying to convince me that planes weren't so bad. I have like a legit terrifying fear of planes. And he's like, "No, trying to explain to me why they're better than buses and cars." And then this poor guy, I'm trying to tell him like, "Yo, let's talk so you don't barf on the bus." Like, I'm the bus, the bus whisperer. And he's the guy that knows everything with the planes and stuff and how to assure me of my safety. So you meet a lot of interesting people out there, man. It's just my luck. I meet all the characters, because I feel like I myself am a character and I just attract that shit, so.
Nah, hey, listen, bro, not for nothing, man. Like, having the fear of flying is a legit fear. You're in this metal tube hurtling through the sky.
Yeah, bro.
Like, whenever the pilot experiences some turbulence, everyone questions their life for like 10 seconds. You're like, this might be it.
Oh my God, bro. That's what I don't want. But then I'm like reading, I've been studying so much, and I'm like, yeah, I know turbulence is like speed bumps on the road, or it's like it's supposed to go through turbulence. That's the plane kind of like shifting through the wind currents. Like, there's so many reasons and things that are behind it, and I'm just like, but still, when I'm on it and I feel that shit, I don't want to die.
Yeah, no, they need to get it together. I don't give a fuck if like
give me a parachute. Actually, I don't want to get sucked in a turbine.
at first, when I first rode planes, I was super sketched out about turbulence. Everyone will be like, oh, and collectively, because like it's this huge thing just moving all of us in unison. But like, you know, after I had broken up with my ex and I was really like just really fucked up, I was flying to and forth from Missouri fighting this case, and I was so out of it that when turbulence came, I was like, just take me.
Like breaking the law.
I was like,
go.
yeah, I just don't care.
Like I'm gonna ride a lightning bolt.
What do I have to live for? I legit was like, I don't care. Everyone else was kind of freaking out, and I was just there like.
So it was bad turbulence, or like.
No, I was bad. I was just like,
No, I'm just saying, but was the turbulence like really like fucking freakishly bad?
Yeah, it was. But like, but one of the trips that I came back from Missouri, like I had to ride the Greyhound back as well. I've ridden the Greyhound back twice, but the first time that I did, I was the same thing. In my book bag, I had my MacBook, you know, my headphones.
I had no room.
I even had, look, I have a Game Boy here. I have a Game Boy Color.
You're like, I couldn't even open my Game Boy. That's how tight the seats are.
I have a Game Boy Color. I have Pokemon Blue.
Dope.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a classic.
And like, man, it's so it's so calming. You just turn it on. You have all these problems in your real life, and for like just 15 minutes, you just turn it on and catch a Pidgey, and everything's fine.
What's your starter Pokemon?
My starter Pokemon was Squirtle.
I noticed a lot of folks go with Squirtle, man.
It's Squirtle because it's Pokemon Blue, and you have like Blastoise on the cover here. So I was like, you know what? Let me just stay with the branding.
Squirtle's dope as hell, man. I like how he's the originator of Thug Life with the sunglasses.
Yeah,
you know. So,
but let me tell you, man. Like, so my mom and I flew out to Missouri. I have a sister that's in Missouri. And I mean, her and I, like, I wish we were closer, but whatever. That's a whole other thing. I try not to. I love my sister, you know? But so we flew out to Missouri, and it's like, you know what? Like, my mom's wanted to spend a week with my sister, you know? She's like, hey, you know, I know you got to go back and do your thing. So what do you want to do? And I was like, I'm just going to catch a Greyhound back. So she dropped me off at this Greyhound station. Imagine what it must have been like for her to drop her son in the middle of this state, like dealing with this case, like, you know what I'm saying? It's always in
the middle of nowhere.
And it's like, and there was a thunderstorm coming in, and she's like, it's like, this is how scary movies start, you know?
Yeah, and they're always at a Greyhound station because those shits are sketch as fuck.
So I get dropped off, right? And I remember I get dropped off like at 8 o'clock at night. It was starting to become nighttime over there. And she goes off, you know, and she's fine. So like whatever. So I go there, and I'm sitting here with my book bag, and I have my laptop and like my headphones, and there's all these other like people traveling, and they're all like over there smoking their cigarettes. A lot of people in Missouri smoke cigarettes. It's like a thing over there. Everywhere that you go to eat, it smells like cigarettes in there.
Damn.
Or at least the places that I've went to, you know.
They're like, fuck the law. We're gonna allow smoking in these goddamn places, man.
Bro, I went to go I'm gonna finish the story of the Greyhound station, which is kind of like a little story in itself. But like when I went to go visit my sister, we went to go get something to eat, and the restaurant that we went to go to, the ceiling was like dark gray and like dark beige from all the tar from all the cigarette smoke.
God, that's so nasty.
And it's like, I just don't understand the concept of smoking cigarettes while you eat or near like your food, you know? It's like, yo, enjoy.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting, man.
How can you enjoy the smell of your food while you're engulfed and just like, you know, whatever. I'm just not crazy about cigarettes.
Disgusting, real quick thing about that. But I'm agreeing with you, but then 5 seconds later, I'm gonna say that it's weird because when I'm at home and my girl makes like pancakes and eggs and we're like smoking bud and shit, and I smell that smell of like, you know, carcinogens, whatever you want to call it, tar, and the pancake syrup and the eggs and all that stuff, I'm just like, damn, this reminds me of when I was a kid and I used to go to Denny's with my parents and they still had the smoking section, and you'd always walk in as a kid and smell cigarettes, eggs, pancake syrup, pancake, shit like that. So it was just kind of like nostalgic. I don't know, I'm weird, but
I like weed smoke. I haven't smelled it since, you know, before I got arrested. I've just completely stayed away from weed, you know. I'm not trying to violate my shit at all. But like when I was smoking, hell yeah, I could be around the smell of smoke, no problem. I'll eat. It's just weed smoke, I just don't like cigarettes.
You're
a
refined man now.
But like, let me tell you, man, like, so I was in this Greyhound station, right? And I go to open the door, and the doors were shut. Like, they're like, yeah, we open at 4 a.m. or something. So I had to stay outside of the Greyhound station
weird.
all night, you know? And I was wearing like a red sweater, and I'm like, okay, so I'm outside in the middle of nowhere in Missouri, like,
And it's about to start storming.
and it's storming, and I gotta take a shit. And I'm like, okay, word, this is not good.
Bro.
So I go on, so I look up on the map. I'm like, where can I go? And I'm looking. So in one direction was like the busy intersection, but it's already like the only place that I felt comfortable walking in to like ask for the bathroom was this big hotel. So I go to this really big hotel and I walk in there. It's a nice lobby, and like, mind you, look at how I look. I have a big book bag. I have a baggy hoodie.
Did you have the beard?
No, I already shaved it.
Oh, okay. So you didn't look like a homeless dude. Like,
The only
what
thing
the
that-
fuck is this guy doing asking me for the bathroom?
The only thing that made me look that would have made me look more homeless is the beard.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
that's all you needed, bro.
But like, I always kept my beard like taped up. So I'm like, listen, yeah, I would imagine, he looks homeless, but he has a
it's
barber.
taped, yeah.
But he has a barber, you know?
They must have one hell of a barber down there at Homeless City.
Like, let me tell you, man, like, so I walk in there and I'm like, excuse me, can I use your bathroom? And she's like, this lady, she was missing teeth. And she's like, get the fuck out of here.
We don't serve your kind.
And I'm just here like, holding in my bowels. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to argue with her, you know? I was like, okay, that's fine. So I leave.
Should have been like, I'm gonna just shit right here in the lobby.
So I walked like 1.5 miles there to no avail. And I'm like, okay, now I got to hold it even more. You know when that little bubble floats up in your stomach?
bro. It's the
And
worst.
And I was like, whew, okay. So I walk back to the Greyhound station and I'm like, where's the next place? And I look up on the GPS. I see there's a Waffle House. So I walk over to that Waffle House too. But like the walk there, you know how like when you need to use the bathroom and you can't, your body kind of recalibrates itself where it's like, okay, we gave you an extra 40 minutes, figure some shit out, you know?
Yeah, it's like, this is getting worse, man. Like,
So I'm like, okay, I just need a guide. So I walk to this. By this time, it's already like 11 o'clock at night because I didn't, I'm like, okay, I need to, it wasn't so bad at first. You know how you try to hold it out, you try to hold it. So when I couldn't hold no more, I go to the hotel. That didn't work. So I walk back to the Greyhound. I find the Waffle House. I'm like, okay, cool. So I walk to this Waffle House. That's like 1.5 miles in the other direction. And the walk there, I kept myself busy by writing rhymes. Like, because I don't write with a pen. I write in my head, So I'm walking. I'm
you
just
gotta
here.
tell me how you do that, because I think I saw Rob Banks post something about that, like, oh, you're a pussy if you write your rhymes down. And I was like, I would never be able to memorize that shit. I guess I'm a pussy, dog, because
Well, you start with the first bar.
it's hard for me, bro. I wish I could do like you guys do, bro.
Like you start with the first bar. You repeat it over and over again. You commit it to memory.
Okay.
And then you start writing the second bar, but like you write the second bar after reciting the first bar.
But after doing it one time, you just memorize it like that?
Well,
But you guys have been doing this shit for a while, so it's probably second nature.
Yeah, now I'm at the point where I can come up with like 12 bars and like I'll recite it twice and it's there,
Okay.
And then I'll keep going. But like you start with the first, you repeat it over and over again. Then you start writing the second one while you recite the first one, then formulate the second one, and you just keep going to third, fourth. Now you got 4 bars. You repeat it a couple times. You've over and over again. Now you got 8 bars. It's just that pattern, And it's gonna be tempting because you want to write some keywords down for like, oh, I want to end my verse here with this.
Yeah.
But you're only on the 8th bar. You still got another half of the verse to go. So I mean. But whatever, so anyway,
Good memory, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I lack that.
I wish I could apply my memory for more like crucial things, like people's names or good memories. But
I'm horrible with names, so don't feel bad. I'm great with faces, and I'm horrible with names. I'm like, hey, what's up, bro?
yeah, that's how they'll be like, hey, my name's Malcolm, and I'm like, all right, homie.
Or I like situations where I have to introduce somebody and I forgot the other person's name. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? This is my homegirl or homeboy so and so, that I know their name and I say their name, and then I let them introduce themselves and the other guy says their name, and then I'm like, okay, it's Bob.
Yeah, mental note. Bob, that's right, Bob.
Yeah, because I'm fucking horrible at that shit, man. Unless you're like a famous rapper or somebody that I'm consistently like seeing all the time, and they're like, "Hey, what's up? It's so and so." Yo, what's your boy? Then I'll have it memorized. Aside from that, the worst.
Yeah, like but I think the reason why I have somewhat of a bad memory, people try to say it's because of the weed.
Yeah, whatever, man. It's because of our time, probably the tech shit.
Well, like partially, I'm pretty sure it's because of the weed. You know,
Yeah.
like I mean, let's just be real here. You know, but at the same time, I kind of have this thing where like all the things that I've been through, I try to push it out, and the way that I feel like memory works, mind you, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an expert on this at all, but like I feel like the way that memory works is that when you start to like condition yourself to have selective memory where you forget about certain things, it's like you try to, it's like you use whiteout to like white out something on the paper, and then you spill the bottle over, and it just
I thought I was the only one that happened to, bro, because I did that too, man, growing up and shit. You know, like you have like fucked up life or whatever, so you purposely blot out memories
and more go with it,
and you end up blotting out more. And then I'm not even gonna lie to you, sometimes I remember shit and then I'm like, did that really happen to me, or did I just make that up as a lie so I could tell people that, so I could feel better in a situation maybe like 5-6 years ago, 10 years ago, and I just totally forgot now if it actually happened or if it was like, you know, it's nothing crazy like, yo man, I was in a fucking shootout in the middle, like nothing like that, but you know, just little rando things, man. I'm just like, I don't understand, bro. And it's crazy, man, what life has made us do to basically numb pain and mental, whatever the fuck it might be, just to cope with it or whatever, you know. I'm sure that's why most of us do it anyways, you know. It's just
it's like
blot out pain kind of thing, you know.
It's like it's like adrenaline to injuries. Like the body's like, okay, this is negative, we're going to numb this.
Exactly.
And like, yeah, like your finger could be hurting you, and like, you know, it numbs it out, but then you can't feel your whole hand, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't know why you just made me think of like one of those old school cartoons where they show like a little wound and then this weird gel filling up all the wound and real quick nano, you know,
like
bots
in
or whatever. Like Metal Gear Solid or something.
Or like Osmosis Jones, where you see like the repair team coming and putting it together.
I gotta watch that again, bro. It's been ages since I've seen that. They were gonna make a TV show, I think, or some shit, and they got canceled or before it even got into production or whatever. But yeah, that would have been a good one.
You know, like without going off on a tangent, like I wanted to like finish.
We're all
the story.
about tangents.
Yeah, podcasts are totally all about tangents. But like, listen, like, so after the Waffle House, I ate. You know, after I felt great. And I
Did you eat before or after?
After, come on.
Damn,
you know?
How much time did you have till the bus?
My bus ticket was for like 6 a.m.
Oh, so you had time to
So I had to be overnight in the middle of this, like,
okay.
you know?
Yeah, it made sense.
And I remember I was walking down the street and I'm like, you know, I got a lot of valuable things in my book bag and I'm in the middle of nowhere, and even if you call the cops, by the time they get here, whatever's done is done. So I was just I was mad paranoid, looking around, making sure that no creepy clowns come out of nowhere, or someone sees a big book bag and who knows,
or
man.
a chupacabra comes out of nowhere. Like,
So I go to Walmart, I go to Waffle House and I eat, and I walk back and I post there, and it was like so cold, man, and I'm not used to it. And it's cold. You see like the air when you exhale, and people are over, and there's a couple people over there like smoking cigarettes, and they're like some older folks, and I just
state of smokers.
And I just wasn't really enthused about like starting a conversation with them. I'm like, man, I'm just not in the mood right now. So when they finally opened the door and I go in, like I was so sleepy because you know you sit there, you try to like stay awake, and it costs you more energy to stay awake than when you're energized and you're just naturally awake.
Yeah.
So trying to stay awake drains you of energy, you know. And so I'm there in the waiting in the waiting, and I pass out. But those like chairs in the Greyhound station, they have those armrests in between so that you can't fully lay. So you try to like sit up, and you rest your head like on your shoulder, and you look like a hunchback for a little while.
Yeah, and you get a nasty like cramp in your neck.
And I remember I put my arms around my book bag, sitting on my thigh, like on my lap. I just didn't want my shit to get stolen, but I needed to get some rest, you know?
Yeah.
And so I figured out some way that I kind of like, mind you, like, you know, I used to see people sleeping in public places that didn't look homeless, but they just were sleeping. And at one point in time, I was like, you bum ass nigga, get up, you know? Like,
and it's probably some guy who was waiting for his Greyhound.
And I remember being like, wow, how the tables have turned, you know?
Yep.
When I woke up, apparently I had hunched over and I slept on my right arm. I was like, my whole body weight was on my right arm. You get me? And I wake up and there's a crowd of people in line for this bus that got there, and they were all looking at me like, you bum ass nigga, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, fuck. And I get up and I try to move my right arm, and my right arm had gone like numb, and it looked like a chicken wing. You know, like it was contracted, and then like my hand was limp, and I was like trying to extend it to get the blood flowing. And yeah, bro, it's just wow, man. You really like it puts in perspective like how rough it could be to like be dealing with situations out of your comfort zone, having to depend on like a bus schedule and lack of sleep and comfort, and
Yeah,
you know,
puts life into perspective, man.
Yeah, so I get on the bus, and at the next Greyhound station, I had to wait another like 5 hours. Greyhound, I like it, but it's not too reliable.
Their fucking layover times are the worst, man. I know what you mean, bro. I had a bunch like that, like 2 hours and 30 minutes, an hour and a half, an hour, and like multiple times, and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, man. So like, you know how they have the counter with the outlets?
Yeah.
Like,
But like everybody's charging their shit.
But in this one, it was actually empty, and I was
Damn,
like, word.
nice.
So I take my book bag and I take my laptop out and plug it in, and I open up Logic Pro X, you know? And the way that I was just trying to pass time, I just made a beat with the key, like your laptop keyboard that you can use as a keyboard. And I was like, just, you know, and it was the saddest song I've ever.
Did it have a groove?
I mean, the drums was kind of slamming, yeah, but like, it was at that point that I'm like, I remember I was pressing the keys, and I'm like, this is depressing as fuck. Like, where I'm in the Greyhound station making the most somber beat I've ever made.
I'm jealous. I didn't even get that, man. I was like, God, man, I wanted to do that.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about like making beats on an iPad, on a tablet?
Oh, I done it for a while, man. Like before, basically, so like I quit making beats for a while. You know, let's just run through the life story to get to the iPad. I started in high school. I was doing it for a minute. You know, that's how we met, you know, when I was still trying to come back that time. But the problem with me is that I was too busy letting drugs and life and depression and all that shit and suicidal tendencies or whatever get to me and make me like not focus on music. So then fast forward a few years, and then out of nowhere, I'm buying an Octatrack, and then I bought a Digitact, and I'm trying to make beats on hardware, and I'm like, yeah, this is where it's at, but I'm not quite there. And then I'm looking at, who was it? I think it was Cuckoo, who's on YouTube. He's a guy who uses the Octatrack or whatever, but he also feeds his Octatrack sounds from the iPad. And I started looking into that. And then I was like, yo, I need the iPad for cannon fodder. And then after a while, I get the iPad for that purpose. But then there's a website I find called Beatmaker is the Squad, who's this cool dude named Cheese, the producer. Shout out to Cheese. He's like got his channel up on YouTube where he uses this app called Beatmaker 3, which is like one of the most phenomenal production apps I've ever seen on the on iOS, you know, and it pretty much kind of sort of can rival some of the DAWs I've seen on desktop. Thing about desktop is you have the advantage of the mouse and all that stuff. It's a lot faster in my opinion, and the file management on iOS is kind of trash compared to like a computer. You know, you put it in a place, you're gonna get it from there. iOS has all these stupid workarounds with iTunes, and it's really annoying. And you have to use all these third-party apps to kind of emulate it. So it's not as fun. Oh, there's another guy too that uses it a lot. Henny the Business. Henny the Business has done stuff I think for like Kendrick and a lot of big time artists, and he migrated to iOS only as well. And he does everything on his iPad. And I just got into that, man. And then these guys, I don't know how to say their name, MSX, or I think it's like MS12 or something like that. It's like MSXII on Instagram. They put out a lot of great sound packs for PC apps and Mac apps, but they do a lot of iOS stuff too. So just seeing all this community of like iOS stuff, and I'm like, damn, this shit is really popping, and there's a community, and it's not just like some guy gunning hard to be like, yeah, iOS can make beats. No, it's like legit capable programs and people that are like actually within the industry giving a shit about going this route, you know, and it's really interesting. Oh, one more thing. There's a guy named Mellow X. I don't know if you ever heard of Mellow X.
Nah.
Funny you mentioned LP. Yes, on the other cast that I heard, He worked with LP on a few joints before. He's from New York, and he's done stuff for like Beyonce as well and things like that. But he uses mostly the iPad as well to make his beats. So it's kind of cool. But I think in the next like 5-10 years, man, that's gonna be the thing, bro. A lot of people are gonna be making beats on their iPads because it's just really convenient, man, to just have that shit on the go. I mean, if they really had a capable FL Studio on iPad, then I would just jump on that. But the FL Studio Mobile is like a joke compared to the one on the computer, you know?
Yeah, I definitely see tablets being the go-to. It's just a center, like the nucleus of just all mobile creation, you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if they come up with this adapter where you plug it in, where you plug the charger into the iPad, but it has like a USB insert, so you can connect like a thumb drive, like a 32 gig thumb drive, and in there it's just a bunch of sounds.
You can do that already. You could plug in even your they have them where you plug. They got these little portable drives that are external, and you just plug them directly into the Thunderbolt thing on the iPad. And in the programs, you can like launch up that external drive as like a source for sounds and just snatch up sounds and throw it into your beat making program and just work on it. It's sick as hell, man.
Insane. Or like, or it'll be a cool idea. Are you familiar with Splice?
Yeah, I use Splice and sounds.com a lot. I like those apps.
I use Splice too. It would be a cool idea if Splice came out with a mobile app where you can download sounds from Splice and then pick where you want to save it, and you can save it directly onto the iPad or onto the thumb drive.
You could do it with I don't think you could do it with Splice, but you could do it with sounds.com, because I've seen Henny the Business do it, and this producer I know named B-Rock, she's the one that told me about it, and it's a program called like Files or something like that, and you basically open up a web browser within that app, and you go to sounds.com and you download the loop you want or the sound one shot you want, and then within that Files app you select the destination, and then you kind of doing some sort of file management. It's like, you know, not the best way to do it, but it's effective, and it's kind of similar to that, you know?
The future, man.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy, bro.
I wonder how I watched this video this one time about RJD2, one of my favorite.
Yeah, he's sick, bro.
You know, producers. And RJD2 was like, yeah, in my time, our thing was collecting vinyls. I don't expect producers to be collecting vinyls nowadays. If you want to sample, you just go on YouTube or Spotify. Like, that's their crate digging.
It's funny because I used to do that back in the days, and a lot of my friends would be like, man, you can't sample from that shit. You got to sample from vinyl. And I'm like, man, I'm too broke for that shit, dog, or I don't even give a fuck at this point, man. I'm just sample whatever, dude. Like, I just lost that whole like elitist backpacker mentality before everyone else did, but I just fucked up and didn't implement myself and put my mind to it, and could have done something a long time ago, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I would have just fucking burned all the money anyway. So, you know, life happens. Things happen for a reason in life, you know? So,
but I feel like people that buy vinyls nowadays, not even to sample, just to enjoy, just to show appreciation for like the music that they end up buying by getting in the car, going to a record store, flipping through some vinyls, and like just appreciating just the tangible copy of it, you know? Like, they call it records because it's like it's a like, okay, I know it sounds funny explaining this. They call it a record because it's a record, but it's like when you go through like historical records,
yeah, it's a recording of a moment in life.
Yeah,
you know?
So it's like an old newspaper, you know?
Yeah. So, it makes sense though, man. No, it's always fun to hold something, like have something tangible you can like say, you know. I know it's weird, smell the damn record too. I mean, I used to smell newspapers as a kid. So yeah, man, it's just cool to have that. You don't have that with an MP3 or whatever, but it's just like at the same time, like, I don't know, man. Like, I want all that right now. It's just like my mind is just so, I'm just so like on some fast paced. I'm thinking long term, but I'm always like moving a million miles an hour, that I feel like I just can't have anything tangible right now, because I feel like, not that I don't deserve it, but I can't until I'm at a place where I can say, I can relax a little bit.
And, you know, like, and also like the dust that falls on used records.
It's great, man. It's
that crackle is like, yeah, you're hearing that crackle because the person that owned this record before you didn't dust too much, because they were going through whatever they were going through, and it wasn't, you know,
they were depressed.
So it's like you're hearing little remnants of just another human experience, and it got passed down to you. You know,
yeah.
It's not the same with like used clothes. If you go to a Goodwill and like someone tries to feed you that same story about a used hat, this hat has this brown grease stain because the guy went. It's like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like,
Just give me the damn hat.
or keep it. Like, let me. Oh, what's up with these polo shirts here?
Yeah,
you know?
right. I don't want your damn hat. Just give me that record over there. How much depression is on it?
You used to play video games?
A lot, man.
Yeah,
I still kind of do from time to time now, but it's like I told you, man, I'm so focused on the music stuff that I'm just like, I don't got time for that shit, you know? So, and it's not knocking it. I love it, but it's just
Like, so one of my best friends, he's like an avid gamer. He's like, bro, he's a gamer, loud and proud, but he pays all his bills. He raises his kids. He spends time with his family. He does
has his fun,
everything.
man.
And he just has this big screen TV with the consoles, right? And, with me, the only game that I find myself playing, yeah, I mentioned Pokemon, but like, that's like a 5 minute, that's like, oh my God, let me just turn it on and walk Ash like to the next town and save and turn it off, you know?
well,
Like,
that game is good because you could save whenever, but when it's those RPGs that you can't, you're like, fuck, I can't do any of that. I have to sit here and play for hours and hours and hours.
So speaking of an RPG, where I was getting to with the iPad, you know, I bought Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII is
I did the same thing.
It's my favorite. It's all time favorite
Yeah.
game. I was in 5th grade. This kid that lived 2 blocks away from me in the apartment complex was like, I was like, oh, what games do you have? I had a PlayStation. We used to play Crash Bandicoot and like Metal Gear Solid, you know? And so I was like, look, these are the games that I have. You know how you used to trade games with your friends? I don't know if you did, but
yeah, I
to,
did,
you know?
and then I hated it after because I never got them back.
Or like they came back scratched up. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So like,
Asshole friends. They're no longer my friends, by the way.
yeah, you fucking elementary school kids.
Dropouts.
So like, so this kid, right, that lived 2 blocks away from me. I remember he had a sister that like I would imagine is a beautiful girl. Now
She had a thing for art.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
Nah, not really. I like when I was in 5th grade, I had no hoes, but like,
In my mind, I had hoes.
but like,
I didn't have hoes till like I was 18. So, you know.
for this kid, like, you know, he let me borrow Final Fantasy VII, and I remember when I turned it on. So if you're familiar with the game, like after you destroy the first reactor, right, and you go back and you got to ride the train back to 7th Heaven in Sector 6 or Sector 7 slums, right? So you're on the train.
And Barrett's cursing at you with like asterisk symbols and all sorts of shit.
Barrett sits down on the seat on the left side of the screen. And I remember trying to sit next in the game. I'm like, do I sit next to him? And I called this friend. I'm like, yo, how do you sit? And he's like,
Press down.
no, he was like, hey man, I'm about to start playing basketball. I'll call you later, you know? So I was like, oh my God, I got to figure this thing out. Long story short, Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time, favorite game.
And
you know
I
what I'm
can't
saying?
even sit anymore.
And like, so years go by. I don't own a game console, right? Years go by. Like, I don't own a game console, but I have the iPad. My boy that is a gamer was like, yo, you know you could buy this game on iOS. I'm like, no fucking way. I go on there, lo and behold, Final Fantasy 7 and 9 is there.
I actually bootlegged it. I have it on Android on like
Allegedly.
the PSX app.
Allegedly.
I allegedly bootlegged it.
Yeah,
You know, it just tripped, fell, and landed in my phone.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
yeah. Allegedly. Who knows if it's even there, man, you know?
I could just be lying about all of this, guys.
But like, so when I was making this last project, Transit City, like, I live
in a transit city.
Yeah. You know, I was writing the rhymes in my headphones, but I was playing the game as I was writing them. You know, I was like,
I just legit imagine you like with a pen writing inside of your headphones. It's like, fuck this shit. I'm just writing in my headphones. You know?
yeah, huh? No,
I thought I hit something.
nah, I don't know. No, that's all good. But listen, like, so it's just so crazy the time that we live in that now. Like, I went to the DMV to renew my license, and everyone took a long line. The one over here on Flagler on Mall of Americas.
Okay.
So you know it gets hella D'd up over there, you know?
It's like every DMV is like that, man. It's horrible.
My grandmother was like, why didn't you go to this one over here? Está vacío. And I was like, whatever, I'm here already, you know? You know,
The grandmas and the moms always know the good DMVs, and you're
Yeah.
like, why didn't you tell me this 3 hours ago? Huh?
Yeah. Nothing that you do is wise enough, you know?
Yeah, it's wise after the fact. It's more like I told you so, I'm wise.
Yeah, and like so everyone is there standing in line, stressed out about how long they're taking, and I'm just there playing Final Fantasy VII on my iPad. Like, this is actually the funnest time I've ever had at a DMV.
Shit's classic, bro.
Yeah, but I feel you, man. Like, you know, nowadays I don't do it I don't do it knowing that it wastes time. I don't have the luxury of just wasting time.
I just feel bad because like I feel like sometimes I buy them and then I don't even play them. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this game because I used to play it so much when I was a kid, and then I buy it and I'm like, why did I just spend $20 on this shit and I don't even play it?
But it feels good to have it.
Yeah, I guess one day when I'm famous and I'm playing Fortnite for fun, I could be like, yeah, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy on iOS for fun too, man. You know, like I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, just it's kind of like it's like you buy a pair of like awesome sneakers and like it just feels good knowing that you have it, or like a plugin. You buy a plugin that it just feels good knowing you have it.
So when you do need it, you got it.
Yeah, like I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I need Final Fantasy, but in a way I kind of did because I felt lost from who I once was as a kid. The things that
like reconnect with your youth.
The things that made me, you know? Like I used to play Final Fantasy. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was in high school. Like people would trash you for playing Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like, yo, who cares?
Magic.
Yeah, you know, when I was in California, like everyone there played Magic the Gathering, and I was like, "What do you?"
I need to move to Cali, bro.
And I was like, "What do y'all think about Yu-Gi-Oh?" They all just start laughing.
Yeah, man, it's like it's all about Magic, bro.
Yu-Gi-Oh, fuck Yu-Gi-Oh, man.
Even though I haven't played that shit in ages, man. Just like the video game versions, or the iPad versions, because spending money on all those cards is like insane.
You know, one of my one of my homies, like he mind you, like he's an adult, and like. Because of the internet, because of eBay, it's like, yo, you know how you used to like buy the booster packs and you open it in hopes that you get, that was part of the funness of like, oh my God, I got a rare holographic.
Yeah.
Now they just go on eBay and buy it. Be like, yeah, look at my awesome deck. It's
there
like
was a point where I was doing, like, I wanted to do that too. Obviously, I didn't, man. That was when I was like in college or whatever, because those cards were expensive, bro. And I was not, you know, financially set to be buying cards like that. You know, like I'm gonna throw down $300 on one card for a deck that I'm gonna play nobody with, and just say, yeah, I got this cool championship deck, man. But
yeah, it's like what a hustle, you know. Like this company's like, we're gonna use this little piece of cardboard, and they're gonna love it.
It's funny you mentioned that because the tattoo on my hand and my former company name was Black Lotus Digital, and I named it after the fact that when I was in Boy Scouts, they would sell Magic cards at this stand, and it was like at a campsite, and they had $1 Magic cards. They were Lucy's or whatever in little plastics. I go up, it's my turn to buy one, and it's the Black Lotus card. This card is like overpowered as hell, and I couldn't buy it because I didn't have $1 on me, and that card now is worth like 20 grand.
Wow.
So it's like the one that got away. You know what I mean? So it's like that's always that chasing that dream, chasing that Black Lotus. You know what I mean?
Were you like in high school when this happened?
Nah, man. I was like elementary school kid.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, shit. I missed out on a huge opportunity, man. I probably would have sold that shit already and burnt that 20 grand on some bullshit by now. So I'm kind of glad I don't have it. It's better to have it as like this dream thing to chase after.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, man. Like when you were in high school, were you in a crowd?
No, man. In high school, I was super fucking weird. I was like down with everybody, but I was kind of like Benny from City of God. You know what I mean? Like I was down with the gangsters. I was down with the nerds. I was down with the jazz people, football team, basketball team. Because I was just overall cool with everybody, man. You know, the music people. That's just how I got down, man. I was cool with everybody.
Word.
I guess I was in all the crowds.
Yeah, like to an extent, it's kind of how I was too, because I was down with the people that I spent most of my time with was like friends that I used to draw with, and then I got into like freestyling, so I got into the hip hop crowd, but then I also was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So like I had my 1-2 homies that
I had that too.
That like they would hang out inside the cafeteria because that's where the tables were, and you can play card games at, you know. And I remember those one kid that he had like a skin pigmentation, like the ones that they have all those like pink patches.
Oh,
yeah.
No. That's pink. Wait, it's not like the loss of skin pigmentation, right?
It's like, so his skin normally is like tan, but he had these big pink blotches like all over, you know, his face and everything. Like I haven't thought about that kid until this very moment for the last like 10 years. But that kid used to kill me in card games, you know. And so whatever, man, like it's funny how like, you know, we're in high school and we Like we're trying to find our space, and then more oftentimes where we are now, we're not even like in contact with the majority of those people.
Yeah.
You know, I maybe speak with like maybe 3 people from Barbara Goldman, you know, but like high school in a way is kind of like a place where you develop social skills, not to stay in contact with those people in high school, but to be able to interact after high school.
True,
you know,
true. Like as in, you know, it definitely does carry a lot into what you do afterwards and stuff like that.
Like the first MC battle that I ever signed up to was in high school. Like whose idea was it in Barbara Goldman to set up a MC battle in the middle of the whole courtyard where like half the school, because there was 2 lunches, lunch 1 and 2.
It's funny you mentioned that because I got a story for you.
Like I signed up to the battle, right? And my first round was one of those like I sucked, you know? I'm a 10th grader that's trying to dabble with this freestyle battle, and the guy that I went up against was this guy named Demetrius, right? That was his like rap name, you know? And the bar that got everyone going crazy from him was, I don't even gotta rap. And he turned around and he's like, I'll let my booty do the talking. And he's like moving, and like everyone went crazy. And I'm like,
what the fuck?
I don't even gotta rap. I'll let my booty do the talking. And he turned around and I'm like, this is the line that I lost to, you know? And everyone was like,
What the fuck, did he twerk after or something?
I don't know, but it was mad suspect, and I lost to it.
Oh, shit,
you know,
fucking farted or
like
something.
how do you pull hoes losing to that? You know, like
How does he pull hoes using that line, bro?
he probably got like mad hoes because girls are into weird shit. but like I remember there was this girl that I was crushing on in 8th grade. She had just gotten here from Cuba. Super fine, so fine.
Arthur, your booty don't do the talking.
She was like so cute, man, and like in retrospect, she was kind of like crushing on me too, or maybe that's just my own delusion. But like,
Our eyes were mad squinting.
But I remember the sun. I remember when, like, after the battle, I tried to go back and talk with her. She was just like giggling to herself, but not like, "Damn, you trash, fool," but more like, "You tried, but nah, that dude, that line got you." I mean, whatever. She's a stripper now, so like,
Her booty's doing the talking, bro.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, God bless her. I don't know, man. Like,
God bless the strippers and the ladies of the night, man.
I feel like
I'm like Marv from Sin City. You know what I mean? Like I know this TMI and shit, but I've always been like a soft spot for them and shit. Like never disrespectful. People always disrespecting strippers and escorts and things, like they're trash, like they're not human. There's a lot of people on this earth that just treat everybody like trash when they feel like something's beneath them, and I'm just like, people, you got to do better than that, man, because everyone's a person, dude. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know if I'll ever treat them like trash, but like when like there's like this double standard, like especially in Atlanta, where they're like, or in Miami. Do you remember some time ago, like when they were like, "Yo, if your music don't bump in the strip club, we ain't spinning that shit." And I'm like, okay. I mean,
it's a different kind of music though. Like
yeah.
They weren't. Yeah, I guess it was ignorant of the DJs to say that, but I'm learning that everybody makes mistakes, man.
And also, like, not for nothing about strippers, but like, you know, the homies, like, you gotta understand. I mean, everyone knows, man. There's a little hypocrisy when it's like, yeah, I love the strippers. But it's like, yo, you want your sister to be one? You want your daughter to be one? What about your girlfriend? What about your mom?
Yeah,
exactly, fool. Like, you know, like, come on, let's not encourage
it's like
this.
I mean, I guess if you're like one of those people that's into like swinging and all that crazy shit, you could kind of have an open mind to that and stuff like that, or even not. Some guys are, because I've come across so many different types of people. You got some guys that them and their girl are like, fuck it, we just need the money, and they just put that shit aside somehow. He's selling dope, she's doing that. Obviously, he's not gonna strip. Whatever. And I've seen so many countless and crazy stories, man, of why somebody strips or why somebody's tricking. And it's just like Miami's a city with crazy stories, man. You know what I mean? And
like, you know,
that's why I'm not so like, I'm not saying that I would want my daughter to be a stripper or a porn star or anything like that, because that's just like me pushing it. What I'm saying is that the people who have been forced in those situations, whether it be because they got addicted to a drug, or they're like, fuck it, I give up, I'm gonna make this money, and I've tried everything and I can't, I'm not gonna treat them like shit or judge them like that. You know, there's some people that get thrust into it, or some people that are just fucking idiots and throw themselves into it and they have everything available to them. And then there's some people that unfortunately, you know, they just gotta do it. And then when it comes to porn shit, there's just some girls that are just that addicted to sex, man. And I mean, it's fucked up as it is. It's probably better they do that than go out and fuck a million guys in the street and catch an STD and die.
You know what I mean? It sounds embarrassing. I'm not saying I'm condoning it, but it's kind of like a weird little. I don't know. It's funny I'm talking about all this shit, and there's Exotica going on this weekend too.
Well, man, like a little backstory, like for me, like one time I was trying to like find some money. I had just gotten my BMW. I had a 1998 328i, and like I was like, man, I need to make some money, whatever. I was struggling, and I go on Craigslist and I go to the gigs section, and there was this inquiry about they needed a driver. I was like, a driver? Okay, like, yeah, we need a driver for escorts. So I applied. I'm like, yo, what's good? And they even had a job interview and everything. And I remember me, like, being the fucking, whatever word you want to use to describe me. I went with my resume. And I was like, yo, look, man, I'm not a weirdo. Pretty much saying, look, I'm not a weirdo, you know?
I got a tie on.
Like, if you look on the paper, it says, Art Morera, not a weirdo, you know?
That's your cover letter. Not a weirdo. Hashtag before there was a thing.
Like, comma, trust me, ... No.
This man put a comma before an ellipses. He was really real about it.
But listen, like, so I was like, yo, listen, I'm just trying to make some money, like, whatever, bro. I'm not really crazy about the fact that I'm doing this, but I need to make some bread. He's like, all right, that's cool. We'll call you. And he did. And he's like, hey, go to this address, pick this girl up, and you're going to make this much money for whatever. And I was like, all right, word.
Are they still hiring?
So then, I don't know, man. I wouldn't recommend. But like, so I
They
picked,
got 401k.
check this out. So I picked this girl up, and this girl was like, listen, I'm going to quit working with these people. I have my own clientele. Can you just get my back for like, and I'll give you however much. I'll give you like, we worked it out. And I was like, so you want me to be your pimp? And she's like, yeah, fuck it, nigga, be my pimp. And I was like, shit, bro, all right. So
Art Morera the pimp.
So I was a pimp for a week.
Not bad, man. Did you make good money?
What is money to peace of mind, you know?
Yeah, you're right, I guess. But like, you didn't force her to do it, so.
Nah.
Did she seem like she was addicted to drugs, or she's like, I'm just fuck it. This is all I know about this money.
She would bring her trash ass weed, and like, she'll smoke her blunt, I'll smoke my blunt. But I remember the conversations that we would have waiting for the next call.
It was like life fucked
Was
up
like,
shit.
yeah, it was like, you can tell that she was like, yo, like, I don't want to have to be doing this, but
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I just don't have anything else to I don't know how to apply myself to make
But
money
most
outside
people
of
wouldn't
this.
even give her that chance to talk about that shit. That's what I'm talking about. Like, people look at these girls and guys and all these people like they're pieces of shit, and they won't even give them the moment to talk. You know what I mean? Because, oh, you're beneath me. You fuck people for money, or you strip for money. You're shit. Like, that's why they act all fucking shot out and ratchet like that, because people shit on them all the time. So it's a good thing you did that, bro. Like, you listened, Hopefully she got out of that shit, but...
I hope so. She didn't look too good. She was mad skinny and shit. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, but it's just crazy, bro. Like, listen, everyone has a backstory. No one really... We ain't doing crimes for the sake of doing crime. We're moving
Exactly.
dimes because we ain't doing fine.
Exactly, bro.
You know, like-
we're trying to eat, man.
So it's like, whatever, man. So yeah, I pimped for a week, I guess. It wasn't my proudest moment. I didn't have to knock nobody up. I didn't have to like knock nobody out or nothing. But like this one time,
Like a wrench.
like she got this call, and and like she's like, oh, just wait for me, because she will go up to the room and send me a text saying that she got the money. It's so crazy talking about this. This is not my... Yo, listen, man, I'm not... It's like the episode of Family Guy where Quagmire starts getting hoed out and Peter's the pimp.
Giggity goo.
Like, would you ever imagine Peter Griffin being a fucking pimp? You know what I'm saying? It's like such
That
a...
just sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so it was,
Griffin the pimp.
and mind you, she'll be there doing her thing, and I'll just be in the car writing rhymes, bro. Like, throughout all these things, all I was ever trying to do was rap.
You should write a story about that.
I mean, it's on 1202. I go
The Week of a Pimp.
I go on 1202. I'm like,
Write that down as a title. The Week of the Pimp.
I go, how's the line? I'm like, pimp for a week, whatever. It's on. I can't remember at the moment, man. My bad. It's not coming to me. But
I
like,
thought you memorized your rhymes. I'm just fucking with you.
yeah, I'm
bro.
drawing a blank, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on, bro?
That's what I do, bro. I make people draw blanks.
Hold on, I'm about to go on genius.com and look this shit up, man. But
Do you have to upload your stuff on there, or just like an auto? What if you have stuff on Spotify?
no. No, I upload my own stuff on
That's
Genius.
pimp though, bro. Like you stay on top of your own marketing and things of that nature, you know?
Yeah, man. If I had somebody to do it, then that'll be tight. But
It is what it is, bro.
don't.
You gotta do your hustle the way you do it. You gotta fake it till you make it. You
Yeah,
know what
bro.
I mean?
I don't. Do you consider it faking it?
It's always good to know all facets of the business and all sorts of like things that you could do, like, because not like that's another thing I learned at that conference. You might go in doing things as like, so you might go in as a rapper, and in the end you might come out like saying, fuck it, rapping is not my thing, but songwriting, I murder it in songwriting, and then you end up going in that. So it's always good to know everything, you know, website of it, you know, the management, A&Ring, all those things, because you never know in 10 years what you might want to fall back on. That might not be what you went in doing intentionally, you know. So it's good that you know how to do all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to learn here. I mean, like, but really, it's good. It's even better to have a team, bro. All right, so
For sure.
So I'm here on Genius. The song is free, man. It's free, man. Like, and the bar, I be laying in bed thinking ways I can pay them they bread. Shit, maybe I should get a part-time, join Lyft and give car rides. Don't want to be spotted flipping burgers or being a server again. My heart would die. I mean, I'm a hard worker. Just wasn't trying to be seen under the light that didn't shine on my artist side, or be the guy named Art that had to put his art aside and always be marginalized. I filmed music videos, passed out flyers, pimped for a week, sold flowers that you light on fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy the things that you do just to, along the way, trying to do what you want to do, you know? It's crazy, dog.
But I really, man, like, I feel like I want to hear a whole entire song about your weekend pimping, bro. I feel like there's so much more. And just even if you fake shit, bro, just to make it like a story, you know what I mean? Like when Prince Paul...
Don't worry about it. That's my mic. Keep talking.
Okay, when Prince Paul did his like, what was it, that a Prince Amongst Thieves kind of story thing, like some shit like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I would imagine it's more on some like Will Ferrell with Gator, like, who did this to you? Like, you know what I'm
could be
saying?
like Will Ferrell meets Drake. You know what I mean? Like, girl, you don't got to do this, but mixed with Casa de Mi Padre.
Nah, venga, bro. You know what I'm saying? But whatever, man. Like, the things that you do, bro, like, it is what it is, man. But, like, you know, what came out of it is like, I guess it's just a part of the story, man. It's a pretty cool story, and it is what it is, man. I'm not about to like regret. If you gotta learn to live with regrets. You know what I'm saying? People that say they have no regrets. People that say they have no regrets, I don't believe them. Like, maybe that's their way of interpreting. I don't have any like.
It's kind of like, I guess, their way of saying, like, I wouldn't change anything in my life for the world because it made me who I am. But it's such a simple set of words that it could be interpreted in so many ways. I interpret it as such, like, yeah, I might have fucked up along the way, but fuck it, it made me who I am. No regrets, no regrets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. You know, it's just part of it, bro. Like, but you know, man. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's true. It made me who I am, and you know, it is what it is, bro. I mean, shit, I'm not gonna lie. Like, now just bringing that little backstory up, it's like, man, let's just change the topic, dog. You know, like,
I don't know, what do we talk? Some music shit. You know what I mean? Like,
well, actually, you know what, bro?
we don't do that on this show. This is everything but what. Just for little bits and pieces. Don't make it too musical.
I kind of like to talk about music and then go from there on to just like regular life things, and then it always comes back to the music, you know.
True that.
And there is this one thing that I wanted to ask you, but like, you know, it wasn't a priority when you walked in. Was like, how did you get into voice acting?
I was actually, when I graduated from SAE, I got a job at this place down here that does dubbing or whatever. That fired me. A week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Shout out to them. It's all good. It's a freedom moment. That's what this guy Edward Long said at the conference. You know, you need these freedom moments to help push you into different aspects of your career. Now, I still do the voice acting stuff. The thing that got me into it was when I was working at that place. I was engineering and directing, and they had a particular cartoon that had some like... it was this duck. It was like a fairy tale world. It was a Brazilian cartoon called Fada Manu, and they have a girl that she's like a fairy godmother in training. And they had this ugly duckling. He would wear a paper bag on his head, but one day he wished to be a good-looking guy. So they just they just did a spell on him. He still had his duckling body, but his face looked like some Johnny Bravo ass character. So I did this voice like, well, hey there, I'm the ugly duckling. Hey, what's going on, ladies? Like, all like, woo-hoo-hoo. So that's what got me started doing that. And then as time went by, bro, like just because I was working there, I would fill in little spots here and there doing cartoons. And then my casting director that was there, so she would give me the opportunity to, jump in other shit that she's like, you know what, maybe he could fuck with that. Or sometimes I would just be like, yo, I've been watching this cartoon we're going to work on the low, and I feel like I could try out for this voice. Let me try it out. And that's how a lot of times I would get voices and started getting more and more when they started seeing like, yo, he's capable of doing a full cartoon or, a whole season of a cartoon. There's like so many damn voices I've done that are just like real fun to do. My favorite is this guy named Smudge, but I'd have to turn my head to do his voice because he's hella high-pitched and loud. And then I got another guy who kind of sounds like a Eddie Murphy Mushu kind of character. That his name is Pongoli, and he's kind of like, well, hey, man, what's going on, guys? I'm just here going on this space planet. And oh, my God, it's so amazing, man. Like doing stuff like that. So
it's crazy hearing you go from those voices back to your normal voice. It's such a...
No, let me do the other one. I'll turn my head, and I'm like,
Oh my God, what's going on, guys?
like doing that voice like that, and then jumping back to this shit. It's like,
That's wild. You ever prank call your like coworkers like in different voices?
I wouldn't be able to man, because they've already heard all the shit that I've done. Like I'm kind of like, it's weird because with voice acting, I'm not like limiting myself, but when you have a certain vocal timbre, you can only do certain types of things and mix certain types. And after a while, people start figuring out like, oh, that sounds like when Rolly did this cartoon mixed with that cartoon, like things of that nature. So that's usually how it is. But no, I haven't done prank calls. Maybe I should try it, now that I'm not really there that often. So except when I do voices, go back and do some. But wouldn't be a bad idea, man. But yeah, doing voiceovers, man, it helped me with a lot of, like, I'm not saying that I'll jump in front of a stage now and perform, but it did help somewhat with nerves because you're kind of in front of like, whether it be like 2 or 3 people, but you're still there and they're watching you and you're like doing this shit and you're like, fuck. And then when I'd have to like sing kind of thing, because it was one cartoon I had to do where I was one of a duo of singing cartoon clowns, and I had to sing like 12 episode. It was kind of like an album. Like each episode was like a 2-minute song or 3-minute song, and I had to like, it was like choruses and verses and shit like that. And I had to do that, bro. That was like the worst time of my life. But it just still helped me break an ice. Like, fuck, I gotta sing in front of my boy who's the engineer. So we had a good time because we were like laughing our asses off and shit. But dude, it was kind of like it helped with some nerves and shit,
That's wild, man. Yeah, bro. Like, I can totally see how, like, when you're in the world of music, voice acting could also be like a little side gig,
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me of when Robin Williams was in like Mrs. Doubtfire, that like, he didn't see himself getting into like starting his own little show with the dinosaurs, but like he just wanted to be in that world and it kind of presented itself and whatever,
Yeah, it's like, it's cool when you get to do both of them,
So look, man, let's wrap this up. Like, do you have anything that people should be looking out for, like the 30-day beat challenge or anything?
I mean, I just wrapped that up. I was contemplating on doing probably like a couple times a week, like a different, little mini episode type thing, 2-minute long, that I put maybe like on IGTV and then a snippet on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just different things of like, kind of like the beat challenge, but it's more focused, where I do something, a specific type of beat with a certain type of subject in mind, or where I'm doing maybe like a beat that I work on for a few days as opposed to like one, per day, because one per day, you go back and you're like, fuck, I could have worked on this better or that better. So I'm going to try to do that. And then I do have some stuff in the works. I've been working. I got some stuff with ER coming up. My boy, I don't know if you know Skip from that group called We Loose.
No.
He's got some stuff I'm working with. Dooley Banks, who's another artist from down here. He's got some of my stuff too that we're working on. And then a couple of the artists that I met in the conference as well. One that I'm really like geeked out working with now is this MC from LA. Her name is Cakes, and she's like sick as fuck. Like I told her at the conference, I'm like, you ever heard of Sky Zoo? She's like, no. I'm like, bro, you sound like the female Sky Zoo. Like she's fucking nasty, dog. So that's somebody she's got some of my stuff, but hopefully I can work with a whole album, do a whole album with her, and let's see what happens, man. So I'm just trying to reinvent my sound, more modernized stuff now. I was doing really weird experimental shit, sampled stuff before. Now I'm trying to completely avoid sampling until I'm at that level where I can afford to just pay it off. Right now it's just all sample free. So just trying to focus on that, man, and just making it in the music industry. Trying to be one of the greats, man. Not just, carve my own lane, but having a long-term, run in this shit, because after all the setbacks I've had, it's like now it's like go time,
I feel you, man. I think that you're gonna be all right, bro. You have a good attitude, and I know you're talented.
Appreciate it, man.
Like we used to rock together with Aviator Club. You know?
Man.
All right, bro. So what's you want to give like your social media?
Yeah, I mean, the only one I really focus on is my Instagram. So it's Instagram.com/NKDVKNG. That's Naked Viking with no vowels. NKDVKNG. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at, man. Just posting music stuff there, and it's only going to be that. It's all about branding. It's all about my hashtag with the triple purple hearts, you know what I mean? The triple purple hashtag, I'm trying to brand myself and all that purple shit. So, that you'll see a focused page, it's not going to be a scattered mess. It's all about the music, man. That's what I'm all about now, so.
Dope, man. Well, thanks for coming through, brother.
Hey, bro, thanks for having me. And next time I'll bring an actual Medianoches, man.
Word. Yeah, bro. I'm looking. Those pastelitos have just been sitting there chilling. Like, don't worry, we're here.
You know it, man.
It's like music that no one's heard. It's like,
man.
hey, look, we'll be here waiting for you.
They're just waiting for us to be discovered, man.
Yeah, bro. All right, brother. We're out of here.
Dale,
All right?
man.
Peace.
Peace.
Medianoche.
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 Podcast.
Medianoche.
Podcast.
Medianoche.
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 Podcast.